The old man sat on the corner, head bowed, a worn grey blanket wrapped around his frail shoulders. His eyes, though clouded with time, still held a spark. This was his spot, the corner of King Street and Queen's Road in Kingston. Every day people rushed past, their hurried lives a stark contrast to his own. He held out a chipped mug, the words "thank you" barely visible beneath layers of grime. Some dropped in coins, a fleeting act of charity in their busy day. Others averted their gaze, pretending not to see him. He noticed. He always noticed. The sun climbed higher, casting its warmth upon the city. The old man felt it too, a small comfort in his daily struggle. He knew most people didn't see him. They saw a beggar, a shadow on the periphery. They didn't see the life lived, the stories etched onto his weathered face, but he was still there, a silent observer in the heart of the city. His name, though few remembered it now, was Thomas. He had once been a carpenter, his hands strong and skilled. He had a family, a wife with eyes as blue as the Caribbean Sea, and 2 children who filled his days with laughter. But life, as it often does, had taken an unexpected turn. A storm, fierce and unforgiving, had ripped through Kingston, tearing apart homes and lives. Thomas's workshop, his livelihood, was reduced to rubble. Then the sickness came. It swept through his family, leaving him utterly alone. Grief, a heavy cloak, settled upon his shoulders. He tried to rebuild, to find work, but the storm had stolen more than just his possessions. It had taken his spirit, leaving him hollow and lost. He drifted, adrift in a sea of despair, until he found himself on this corner, a silent plea etched on his face. A young girl, no more than 10, stopped in front of him. Her bright eyes, filled with a wisdom beyond her years, held his gaze. She didn't look away. In her hand, she clutched a small paper bag. "Sir," she said, her voice a melody in the city's cacophony, "my grandma made extra bread today. She said to share it with someone who looks like they could use a smile." Thomas stared at her, his heart, long hardened by hardship, softening. He accepted the bag, his fingers brushing against hers. They were warm, full of life. He looked inside. A loaf of bread, still warm from the oven, lay nestled within. He had forgotten the simple pleasure of a kind word, a generous gesture. It was a spark in the darkness, a reminder that even in the depths of despair, hope could bloom. He looked up, searching for the girl, but she was gone, swallowed by the bustling crowd. As the day drew to a close, Thomas counted his meager earnings. It wouldn't be enough for a proper meal, but the bread, the girl's unexpected kindness, filled him with a warmth that money couldn't buy. He would eat it